My parents gave my brother a key to my house while I was on a business trip. I came home to find his family of 4 had moved in, and they told me I should be grateful for the company. Hi everyone! Today's story will blow your mind, but really quick, if you enjoy this content, hit that subscribe button. Channel's been a bit quiet lately, and your support keeps it all going. Let's jump in. Original post, posted to r/relationships. I, 27M, need advice because I think I'm losing my mind. I came home from a business trip yesterday to find my house that I bought with my own money, occupied by my brother's family. Not visiting. Living here. Let me back up. I work in tech and was fortunate enough to buy a 3-bedroom house in a decent neighborhood 2 years ago. It's nothing fancy, but it's mine. I live alone, use 1 bedroom as an office, and the 3rd as a guest room. My parents, 56M, 54F, have always made comments about it being too much house for one person, but I figured they were just doing typical parent stuff. My brother Michael, 31M, has been struggling financially. He has a wife Jennifer, 29F, and 2 kids, 6M, 4F. They've been living in a cramped 2-bedroom apartment, and I genuinely felt bad for them. I've helped out here and there, groceries, kids' clothes, that sort of thing. But I never offered them my house. So imagine my shock when I unlocked my front door after a week away to find toys scattered in my living room and strange voices coming from upstairs. My nephew ran past me like it was normal. Jennifer came out of my kitchen wearing an apron I'd never seen before and cheerfully said, "Oh, James, your mom said you'd be back today. I made dinner." I stood there with my luggage, completely frozen. My brother emerged from my office, which now had a twin bed where my desk used to be, and said, "Hey bro, thanks again for this. The kids are loving having their own rooms." Their own rooms. In my house. I immediately called my parents, who acted like this was completely reasonable. My mom's exact words, "Well honey, you have all that space and Michael needs help. Family helps family. I knew you'd want to do the right thing, so we helped them move in while you were gone." While I was gone. They moved an entire family into my house while I was gone. My dad added that I should be grateful to have family around and that living alone at my age was unnatural anyway. He said they'd given Michael my spare key, which they had for emergencies, and helped coordinate the move. Apparently, this was discussed at length during Sunday dinners I'd missed due to work. Here's the kicker, Michael's already changed things. My office is now their son's room. My guest room is their daughter's. They've rearranged my living room furniture. Jennifer reorganized my kitchen because it wasn't functional for a family. They brought their own furniture and put some of mine in the garage. When I tried to object, Michael got defensive. "Mom and Dad said you were cool with it. Don't make this weird, man. It's just until we get back on our feet." When I asked how long that would be, he got vague. "Few months, maybe a year. You know how it is." No. I don't know how it is. Because I work 60-hour weeks and live within my means specifically, so I don't know how it is. I'm typing this from a hotel because I couldn't stand to sleep in my own house last night. My parents are blowing up my phone, calling me selfish and dramatic. My mom texted that I'm breaking her heart by not embracing family. The house is in my name. I pay the mortgage. All utilities are in my name. But somehow I'm the bad guy for not wanting to come home to a full house I didn't agree to? Am I insane here? How do I handle this without destroying my entire family? Update 1, posted 3 days later. Thank you to everyone who responded to my original post. I've read every comment, and your validation that this situation is insane has kept me sane. I've been staying at a hotel, but I knew I had to face this. I met with my parents yesterday at a neutral location, a coffee shop downtown. I thought maybe away from the situation, they'd be more reasonable. I was wrong. My mother started crying the moment she saw me. 3 days, James. You've been gone 3 days while your brother's children wonder why their uncle hates them. I hadn't even sat down yet. I tried to explain calmly that this wasn't about hating anyone, but about the massive boundary violation of moving people into my house without asking. My father cut me off. Boundary violation? Is that what they're calling family responsibility these days? He went on a 10-minute speech about how his grandfather housed 13 family members during the Depression and never complained. How real men take care of their families. How my generation is selfish and doesn't understand sacrifice. When I pointed out that I'd already been helping Michael financially, my mother scoffed. Throwing money at problems isn't family, James. Opening your home is family. I asked why they didn't open their home then. They have a 4-bedroom house with 2 empty bedrooms since my brother and I moved out. The excuses came fast. And my dad's back can't handle children running around. He plays golf twice a week. And my mother's craft room is essential for her mental health. Their house isn't set up for children. They babysit the kids there every weekend. They're too old to have a full house. They're in their 50s and very active. But the real reason came out when my mother said, "Besides, you need this, James. You're 27, single, working all the time. This will give you practice for when you have your own family." Practice. They moved my brother's family in to give me practice. My father added, "Your brother is doing you a favor, really. Teaching you about family life. You should be thanking him." I lost it. I told them this was theft, that they'd violated my trust, and that I wanted everyone out of my house immediately. My mother's response? "It's not really your house, sweetheart. We all helped you get where you are." This is categorically false. I paid for college myself through scholarships and working. I've never taken a dime from them for my house. But apparently, because they raised me, every success I have is partially theirs. My father then dropped this bomb: "Michael's lease was up anyway. If you kick them out, they'll be homeless. Is that what you want? Your nephew and niece on the street?" I said they could move in with them. My parents said that was impossible, for all the reasons above. I suggested Michael get a new apartment. They said he can't afford it right now because Jennifer had to quit her job, news to me, due to stress. The meeting ended with my mother sobbing and my father calling me disappointingly selfish. Other cafe patrons were staring. I felt like the worst person in the world, even though I know I'm not wrong here. I went to my house afterward. Michael had set up a gaming system in my living room. Jennifer had completely reorganized my kitchen and thrown out my meal prep containers because they were bachelor food storage. My nephew was jumping on my couch with shoes on. When I asked Michael to talk privately, he said, "Whatever you need to say, you can say in front of my wife. We're a family here now." I told him he needed to find somewhere else to live. He laughed. Actually laughed. "Mom said you'd have a tantrum. It's fine, bro. You'll get over it. Hey, Jen's making her famous lasagna tonight. You'll love it." I'm back in the hotel. I've contacted a lawyer, but they said eviction could take months since my parents let them in and they've been there over 72 hours. My family is texting me constantly. Aunt Patricia, your mother is heartbroken. How could you? Uncle David, man up and help your brother. Cousin Sarah, wow, didn't know you were so materialistic. They're all getting Michael's version, where I promised to help and then backed out, leaving his children devastated. He's posting on Facebook about how family isn't always blood, and getting hundreds of sympathetic comments. I've never felt more alone. I worked so hard for this house. I followed all the rules. And somehow I'm the villain in this story. I don't know how to move forward without losing everyone I grew up with. Update 2, posted 2 weeks later. Things have escalated beyond what I imagined possible. I've been living in a hotel for over 2 weeks now, hemorrhaging money while still paying the mortgage on a house I can't live in. I took the advice many of you gave and hired a lawyer. She reviewed the situation and essentially said that while what my parents did was wrong, the eviction process is complicated since 1. My brother isn't a squatter. He was invited by people who had legitimate access to my home. 2. He's family, which courts often view differently. 3. There are young children involved. 4. He's already established residency by receiving mail there. The legal route would take 3 to 6 months minimum and cost thousands. My lawyer suggested trying mediation first. Meanwhile, the situation at my house has gotten worse. I've driven by several times, and Michael's car is in my garage. Mine is on the street. They've put up different curtains. There's a trampoline in my backyard. And my neighbor texted that they had a loud party last weekend. I tried mediation with my parents present. Michael showed up 40 minutes late with Jennifer and the kids, who had no business being there. He was wearing my clothes. My clothes. When I pointed this out, he said, "Oh, I thought you left these for me. You have so many, I figured you were sharing." The mediator tried to establish boundaries, but Michael kept interrupting. This is family drama, not a legal issue. James is just being territorial. The kids are settled now. Moving would traumatize them. Jennifer cried about how their son was finally thriving, having his own room, and how could I destroy a child's stability? My parents backed them up completely, with my mother actually saying, "James has no idea what it's like to be a parent. He doesn't understand sacrifice." The mediator suggested a compromise, They could stay for 3 more months with a firm move-out date and pay rent. I was exhausted and desperate to have some resolution, so I agreed to $800 per month, well below market rate for a 3-bedroom house. Michael's response? Rent. To my own brother. For staying in empty rooms? That's sick, man. My parents were appalled. My father said, "First you try to make them homeless, now you want to profit off them? We raised you better than this." The mediation ended with no resolution. But here's where it gets worse. That night, I got a call from my credit card company about suspicious charges. Someone had used my emergency credit card, which I kept in my house, to buy $3,000 worth of furniture and electronics. When I confronted Michael, he said, "Oh, I thought that was for house stuff. You know, for all of us to use. I'll pay you back when I can." I reported it as fraud. My family went nuclear. I'm now receiving messages from relatives I haven't spoken to in years, calling me heartless for prosecuting a father trying to provide for his children. But the real blow came yesterday. I got a call from my boss. Someone had called my workplace claiming to be concerned about my mental health crisis and abandonment of family responsibilities. They suggested I might not be stable enough for my high-stress job. HR wants to meet with me Monday. I know it was my parents. The phrases used were theirs. They're trying to sabotage my career now. I broke down in my hotel room last night. I'm 27 years old, successful, independent, and somehow I'm living like a refugee while my house is occupied by people who hate me for wanting my own space. My family has turned me into a pariah for the crime of wanting to live in the house I bought. The lawyer says I have a strong case now with the credit card fraud, but pressing charges will absolutely nuke any remaining family relationships. I feel like I'm being held emotionally hostage. Either I let them steal from me and take over my life, or I become the family villain forever. I don't recognize these people anymore. The parents who taught me about hard work and responsibility are now punishing me for exhibiting those very traits. I'm starting to wonder if they ever respected me at all, or if I've always just been a resource to be managed for the greater family good. Update 3, posted 3 weeks later. I've been putting off this update because I'm still processing what my life has become. It's been 2 months since I came home to find my house occupied, and the situation has deteriorated beyond my worst expectations. After the credit card fraud, I had to make a choice. I decided not to press charges after my uncle, a police officer, called to tell me it would destroy Michael's future and make me responsible for putting 2 innocent children's father in jail. Instead, I had the card cancelled and ate the $3,000 loss. This was seen as an admission of guilt, apparently. My family's narrative became that I'd given Michael permission to use the card and then vindicatively tried to prosecute him when I got angry. My mother posted on Facebook about how mental health issues can make people lash out at those trying to help them. Suddenly, I'm not just selfish, I'm unstable. The meeting with HR went poorly. While they couldn't take official action based on an anonymous call, my boss pulled me aside afterward. "James, I don't know what's going on in your personal life, but it can't affect the team. Figure it out. My previously stellar reputation is now tainted with personal drama." I tried one more time to reclaim my house. I gave formal written notice that they needed to leave within 30 days. Michael's response was to change the locks. I came by to get some clothes, stupidly thinking I could just walk into my house, and my key didn't work. When I knocked, Jennifer called the police, claiming a disturbed individual was trying to break in. I spent 3 hours explaining to officers that I owned the house, showing documentation, while my brother stood in my doorway saying I was having a mental health crisis and had abandoned the family home. The officers ultimately said it was a civil matter and I should continue with eviction proceedings. My neighbors now think I'm unstable. Several have unfriended me on social media and sided with my nice young family, who's been taking care of the abandoned property. But here's the worst part, I've effectively lost. Last week, I was served with papers. Michael is claiming tenancy rights and arguing that I verbally agreed to let them live there indefinitely. He has witnesses, my parents, who will testify that I promised to house them. His lawyer argues that my erratic behavior and abandonment of the property shows I'm not a fit homeowner. Simultaneously, my parents invited me to dinner to discuss the situation like adults. Exhausted and beaten down, I went. The entire extended family was there. It was an intervention. They sat me down and told me, I'm mentally unwell. My obsession with ownership is unhealthy. I need therapy for my control issues. Michael is graciously willing to take over the mortgage to help me during my crisis. This is what's best for everyone. My cousin, a real estate agent, had paperwork ready. They wanted me to sign over the house to Michael for the family's sake. In return, they'd forgive my recent behavior and welcome me back into the family. My mother cried about how she just wanted her boys to get along. My father said this was my chance to redeem myself. The manipulation was breathtaking. They'd choreographed this whole thing. Michael sat there looking concerned and magnanimous, like he was doing me a favor by stealing my house. I walked out. I didn't sign anything, but I knew I was done. These people who I'd loved my whole life had conspired to break me down until I gave them what they wanted. That was a week ago. Since then, I've been formally disinvited from Christmas. And my grandmother, who I adored, sent me a letter saying she's removing me from her will. Family friends have been told I'm having a breakdown. Michael has started renovating my house, posting updates on social media about making it a real family home. I still own the house on paper, but I've lost it in every meaningful way. My lawyer says we can fight, but it'll cost tens of thousands and take years. Meanwhile, I'm living in a studio apartment, paying rent and a mortgage, watching my brother live my life while being praised for stepping up during James's crisis. The irony is crushing. I did everything right. I worked hard, saved money, bought a house, helped family when I could. And that made me a target. My success became a resource for others to claim. My independence became selfishness. My boundaries became mental illness. I don't know if I'll ever get my house back. I don't know if I want these people back in my life, even if I could. But I know this. My parents were wrong. This isn't how families help each other. This is how families destroy each other while calling it love. To those saying I should have fought harder, you're probably right. But when every person you've ever loved turns against you, when your reality becomes mental illness and your success becomes selfishness, the fight gets beaten out of you. They didn't just take my house. They took my faith in family itself. I'm starting therapy next week. Not for the reasons they claim I need it, but to process the grief of losing everyone I thought loved me. The house. That's just property. But discovering that your entire family sees you as nothing more than a resource to be exploited? That's a loss I don't know how to calculate. Final update, posted 3 months later. This will be my last update on this situation. 3 months ago, I came home to find my life hijacked. Now, I'm writing this from a different state, in a new apartment, starting over at 28. The last straw came 2 weeks ago. I'd continued fighting the eviction while hemorrhaging money on legal fees. My lawyer was confident we'd eventually prevail, but eventually was looking like another 6 months minimum. Meanwhile, Michael had essentially become the neighborhood's golden boy, the responsible family man who'd rescued an abandoned property from his troubled brother. Then I got a call from my mortgage company. They'd received concerning reports about the property's condition and needed to conduct an inspection. Apparently, someone, definitely my parents, had reported that I'd abandoned the property and it was at risk. The inspection revealed a significant water damage from the kids' bathroom. They'd been using it as a splash zone. A torn carpet in multiple rooms. Holes in walls from mounting TVs and shelves. A broken window from a baseball incident. The garage converted into a workshop with improper electrical work. The repair estimate was $40,000. Insurance wouldn't cover it because it was preventable damage from negligent tenants. The mortgage company threatened to call the entire loan due if repairs weren't made within 60 days. I forwarded everything to Michael. His response: "That's what homeownership is about, bro, maintenance. Maybe you weren't ready for the responsibility." My parents' solution was elegant in its cruelty. They offered to help by having Michael officially take over the mortgage. He'd get a loan, buy me out at 70% of what I paid, and I'd at least walk away with something instead of losing everything to repairs and legal fees. When I refused, they played their final card. My father called my employer directly. As a concerned parent, he explained that I was having a mental health crisis, had abandoned my responsibilities, and was acting erratically. He suggested they give me time off to get help. My boss called me in. The company couldn't ignore such a call, especially given my recent instability, living in hotels, the HR complaint, looking exhausted and distracted at work. They offered me 2 options: take a voluntary leave of absence for mental health treatment, or face a performance improvement plan that would likely lead to termination. I saw the writing on the wall. My family had systematically destroyed my life in this city. My reputation was ruined, my career was hanging by a thread, and I was financially drowning. So I made the only choice I could. I took a new job in another state, a lateral move that required no references from my current employer. I negotiated a signing bonus that covered my moving expenses and some debt. Then I did what my family had been accusing me of all along. I abandoned the house. But not before one final act. I hired a property management company and gave them full authority to handle eviction proceedings. I also filed a civil suit against Michael for damages and theft. Then I sent a certified letter to every family member explaining that I was cutting contact permanently and any further harassment would be met with legal action. The responses were predictable. How could you sue your own brother? You're destroying the family. Think of the children. We tried to help you, and this is how you repay us. My mother's final message was a masterpiece of manipulation. I'm sorry you're so sick that you can't see how much we love you. When you get better, we'll be here. I moved last week. I'm in a new city where no one knows me as the mentally unstable brother who abandoned his family. My new job is going well. I'm in a small apartment, but it's mine. No one has a key. No one can move in while I'm gone. No one calls me selfish for existing in my own space. The house. The property management company successfully evicted Michael after documenting additional damage and code violations. He tried to claim I'd illegally evicted a family member, but without my parents' testimony, they backed off when threatened with being named in the lawsuit. He had no case. The last I heard, they'd moved back in with my parents, who suddenly discovered their house could accommodate grandchildren after all. Funny how that works. The repairs cost more than my savings, so I'm letting the bank foreclose. My credit is destroyed, but I'll rebuild. Michael tried to buy it at auction but couldn't secure financing. The house sold to developers who'll probably tear it down. Fitting end, really. I'm in therapy now, legitimately, not because anyone forced me. My therapist says I experienced a form of collective gaslighting, where a group rewrites reality to serve their needs. She's helping me understand that my family's love was conditional on my usefulness to them. The flying monkeys still occasionally reach out. Your parents are heartbroken. Michael's children ask about you. The family isn't the same without you. I don't respond. There's nothing to say to people who see kindness as weakness and success as communal property. To those facing similar situations, document everything. Trust your instincts. Don't let anyone convince you that boundaries are selfishness. And sometimes, the only way to win is to walk away and rebuild somewhere else. I lost my house, my savings, my credit score, and my family. But I kept my sanity, my self-respect, and my future. The price was steep, but the alternative, a lifetime of being emotional and financial fodder for people who claim to love me, would have cost me everything. I'm done updating. I'm done looking back. It's time to build a life where family means people who respect me, not people who feel entitled to me. Thank you to everyone who validated my reality when my entire world was telling me I was crazy. You kept me sane when sanity was being weaponized against me. I'll be forever grateful. To my family, if you're reading this, you won. You got the house. I hope it was worth losing a son and brother. Because that's what you traded it for, and unlike property, I can't be reclaimed, renovated, or resold. I'm free.